mentor call. I'm going to record the call because I know that some people couldn't get on. What I wanted to talk about today was a little bit of just some sales training, and then we can just answer questions, Jody, you and I, and just see kind of where everybody's at. But what I realized and why I wanted to do this training on sales is, I guess I kind of took it for granted that I had some sales training when I was like in my previous career, and it just comes naturally, I guess. And so I never really even thought of that it was actually something that you have to sometimes learn, this skill of selling. And I know that's hard for a lot of people because we don't, we're not selling makeup. We're not selling eyelashes, like we're selling workouts and nutrition and really trying to change people's lives and help them. And so it's kind of a weird thing, but no matter what, when you look at it, like it is sales. You just have to come at it from a place of love and serving, but you still are selling your product, and you're never going to grow your business if you can't help people get from the really awesome conversation piece to buying a program, because that's ultimately what's going to help them to change their lives, is buying that program. So you have to get them from that point to buying their program for them to start their journey. And I know some people, it really turns them off to think of this as a salesperson, but I always think about, like, if you go to a restaurant and you got like phenomenal service and the food's amazing, do you feel weird about telling your mom about it, or your sister about it, or your best friend about it? Like, no, because we're just saying we love that. It was so good. Or if you tried a new face cream and it's like done wonders and you notice your wrinkles are going away, like, are you telling people about it? Like, yeah. So, like even these blue light glasses, I've gotten so many messages and I've sent this link out. I don't make any money off it, but I'm like sending a link, like, this is where I got them, Amazon. I love them. And like that in a way it sells. It's just the way that, it depends on your mindset. So, the thing I think that you have to first start is, where is your mindset with this business and with these products? So number one, do you love our products? And if so, you need to list out why. What have these programs and these products done for your life? Have they helped you? In what way? And so really get it, like, why do you love this? And so when you start thinking about all the things, like, I know for me, like, I suffered for years with IBS. I had to have a colonoscopy when I was 30 years old. And they were like, well, we don't see anything. You just have IBS. Here's some medicine. Like, okay, that's still not helping me. Like all these things. So Shakeology has helped me control my IBS. Why should I feel icky about telling somebody how Shakeology has helped me and how I think it would help them? Because what if I didn't tell them, because I don't want to feel icky trying to sell them something, but then I allow them to suffer with their IBS when this could help them? Or a workout program, somebody is sitting there and they're 50 pounds overweight and they're just feeling hopeless about their journey. They don't want to go to a gym. They might just think, oh, P90X, I can't do that because I'm so overweight and that's too intense for me. They might not realize that we have so many other things to offer them. So why should you feel icky about telling them something that is truly going to help them and change their life? So I think first, when it comes to sales, first of all, you have to get your mindset right, that we have something amazing that can truly help people's lives. And so listing out how it's helped you, or even like ask your friends, ask your family, ask in your thread, like, hey, give me one thing that's, why you love Shakeology. How has it helped you? And start getting all these testimonies in your head so you can share that with people and you can feel really good about sharing this. Number two is really getting to know the person first. And so for me personally, I use Wufoo forms a lot when we're having a conversation and I start asking, like, I want to learn more about you. Some people use, I don't know, Jody, do you use Google Forms, or what kind of form? Do you send a form to your people when you're talking to them to get an idea of their?
I mean, I've used all of them, but right now I'm using Jotform.
Okay. So it doesn't really, there's a lot of awesome free services out there, but I think the more that you can get a person sharing about their health And the more that they share with you, the easier it is to show them that this can help them. So what I mean by that is, first of all, I think we take for granted sometimes talking about this part of our journey, and it's a really, really private thing. I started my career in the weight loss industry, and I remember like so many women, their husbands did not even know what they weighed. Like they, like many, like sometimes they, like nobody knows what that number on the scale is. Nobody knows what their size is. Like it's a really extremely personal, private, emotional thing. So if you can get somebody starting to talk to you about that, they are trusting you. Like, no, like understand that if they're sharing that with you, you already are at like a place where they trust you and they value what you're going to say, because they don't just go out and share that on the streets. Like they're not just like, hey, you know, I weigh 250 pounds or whatever. Like most people don't share that. So if they're talking to you and saying, I'm overweight, I'm feeling gross, like most people in life probably don't even know that that's how they're feeling. So understand that you are an expert to them, and they want what you have. There's something that you've shared that have got them to talk to you in some way. So position yourself in that and have the confidence that you know what you're talking about. And when you make that suggestion, like it is coming from a place of love and service and all of that, but it's truly what they need. Like when I go to a gym and I'm going and if I'm going to hire a personal trainer, like I know what they're talking about. So if they tell me I need to do XYZ exercise, I'm going to do XYZ exercise because they're the expert and I'm not. And so like position yourself knowing that you are more of an expert, I guess, than they are. Does that make sense? Does that make sense with that? Because I think a lot of people, oh, I haven't hit my goal. I'm not at my goal weight. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not this and this and this. So I don't feel comfortable or I don't feel confident talking to somebody yet. You don't have to be. You already, though, are farther along in your journey than they are. So you can position yourself as that expert. So when they start sharing and you make a suggestion, like be confident in that because you know that this truly can help them. And then, the more that you get to know them, when you come back and you do make a suggestion, use those things that they shared with you to really personalize it. I have some scripts saved in my notes for what I do send people. So the way that kind of my flow works, and Jody, I'd love to kind of hear like your flow too, is, if I'm talking, and it's different because, all the conversations are different. But if let's say somebody comments like, I want more information, I'm going to reach out and say, hey, I saw your comment on my post that you want more information. Can you share with me a little bit about, why you think that you might want to join me? Then I get them to talking and I say, awesome. What I would love for you to do, if you're okay with this, I'm going to send you a really simple form to fill out. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. This is really going to help me to get to know you so I can make a suggestion based on your own personal goals, your seasons, your likes and your dislikes. Would you be open to filling that out? Most of them are going to say, yeah, sure, send it to me. And I send it to them. And then that's kind of a really great transition. And I send them that form. Okay, so that's kind of how I work with that process. Now, once I get the form and I'm coming back to have a conversation with them, I always, first of all, thank them for filling it out and taking that time. And I always say, I really appreciate you sharing that information. I know that that's pretty personal and I really appreciate you trusting me in sharing that. So I'm already acknowledging that like, hey, we're like, you can trust me and we're on the same, like, I'm going to help you and I'm going to personalize this for you. When I make a suggestion to them, depending on what they put in their form, I always tell them why I think this is the best. So let's say I'm suggesting lift 4 to Jody. Jody and I have had this conversation. I'm saying, awesome, Jody, thank you so much for filling out this form for me. I really enjoyed getting to know you and I really appreciate you, sharing this. I can so relate being a busy mom and not having time to exercise. I think that the Lift 4 Challenge Pack is going to be the best thing to get you on your journey because you are busy, you don't have a lot of time, and this is only 4 days a week. And so, let me tell you a little bit about this program. So like I really personalize it to what she has shared with me as opposed to, awesome girl, thanks for filling out my form. Lift 4 is awesome. This is going to be a great program. And then I send them information about Lift 4. Like why? Why is it a good program for them? So that's really what's worked for me in that process. That's kind of how I do it. So the main thing is I try to get them to fill out that form, because filling out that form, instead of the going back and forth, okay, how much weight do you want to lose? Why do you want to lose weight? Like going back and forth through Facebook Messenger, sometimes you get like, they might not see a message and then you feel like they've ghosted you, and it's like this chasing. The forms for me have really helped in that process of getting them to open up and share. And then from there, I can just go ahead and make a suggestion on a program. Jody, is it different for you in your flow at all? Or how do you kind of do it, taking from just a conversation, somebody saying they want some information, to telling them what they need?
I mean, it's actually really, really similar. I just try to make sure that, and this is fairly new, that I'm taking them outside of whatever social media platform that we're talking in. So moving them over to email as quickly as I can, because what I found is that the faster I take them out of that environment, the less I'm losing them in conversation, because they're getting an email rather than, you know, a bunch of messages that they forget about and that they're whatever. I also find that they're a lot more, that they're finding it a lot more professional than just being like, oh, it's just another person inviting me to another MLM, to another da-da-da, when they moved outside of Instagram. And also just because Instagram is blocking things more and more and more, I don't want to lose that person by having them, it's just stuck in Messenger. So if I can move them out, I usually will send them the link to the form from the email. So if they've given me their email, then I've started to give them the information and just say, hey, same thing that you said. Here's you know, if you could fill out this quick form so I can get to know you better and get to know your goals a bit better. Sometimes they just tell me right there. Sometimes they tell me, you know, they keep talking to me on Instagram. Sometimes, you know, whatever. And I try to go with the flow of whatever they said. But the more that I can move them away from that platform, I feel like the easier the conversation goes and the more open they are with me. So I've been trying that a lot more, just to get them outside of the social media platform, so that they get that this is more like, this is a professional thing that we're doing, like, and having that form inside that email so I can track everything a lot better. Just because too, like, I've got 3 million messages compared to they're probably only getting a few from whoever. So I've been trying to do that. And then pretty much exactly what you said for the flow is what I do, and making sure that, yeah, I'm talking to them about their pain point and I want to find out their goals. Like, that's the first thing I want, is right away I want to be like, they said, yeah, I'm interested. Oh my gosh, awesome. Tell me a little bit more about what your goals, what you struggle with. You know, how's your nutrition? And so sometimes I'll kind of like say that in that first conversation, as well as offer the form. But I try to just feel out that person to see, like, kind of how quick they've been to respond to me in the first place, whether I, like, you know, start asking questions inside Instagram with the form, or if I can trust that they're going to move over there right away and fill it out. And so I just always relate to the client. So, you know, whatever it is that they're struggle with, oh my gosh, thank you so much for filling that out. You know, and I always make sure the exact same thing. Thank you for trusting me with your, you know, where you're struggling with your goals, da 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 da. You know, and often it's like, when I first started, this was what happened with me. When I da 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 da, like when I had
relate to them.
Whether it's IBS, I had a baby, I had no time, I had a busy company, whatever it might be, there's any myriad of things in your life, in your story, that will relate to them in the exact same way.
Yes.
And then just don't be afraid of the follow-up. Like, you know, you said, like, people are getting distracted nonstop. And I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody that I was a little bit apprehensive to follow up with right away message me and be like, ooh, I'm so sorry, I totally forgot I had this going on and this going on.
Yeah.
So 9 times out of 10, it's just that they were distracted or forgot, or honestly, like, you approach them, they may not be ready yet, but everything is in the follow-up. We're planting the seeds. And I think a lot of times we get so worried about what they might be thinking that we're forgetting that our job is to present them with the opportunity and to plant the seed. Whether or not they accept it is on them. But I think some Like I get irritated more if someone had an answer and didn't help and didn't share it with me. Like I remember that I go to the mall now and I'm like, if a store attendant doesn't ask me what I need, I'm like, hello, why are you not doing your job? Why are you not helping me?
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I think is position yourself as the expert. Like, don't be afraid to make suggestions because they're coming to you saying, hey, I need help.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think that like what you said at the beginning, you know, just how you felt like you had sales experience already. And I came from being a photographer for a decade. And so over a decade. And so I felt like, you know, I would say that to my coaches a lot and be like, you know, I had a leg up because I already had this experience and But, you know, I used to teach other photographers as well. And 9 times out of 10, me thinking that they had the same ability and knowledge was exactly the thing that was holding them back, where they were like, they didn't want to do in-person sales. They didn't want to like, you know, push somebody to buy more than digital files because they didn't want to offend them in some way, but that's just it. You're the expert. You know what's best for them. They have no idea. And getting past that fear, like that's on us because, you know, before I was a photographer, I was a singer, and it was a completely different field. However, those skills are still transferable for us regardless of what our field was. Because like you said, we're always selling. Like as a singer, it was putting myself out there. It was like networking with everybody. I felt like I was always trying to have to like just get at everybody and get out there. Whereas with photography, I was like, I could sit back and these people come to me. And it was like, I treated them differently in that way because I felt like, you know, I had this in my head that it was like, no, as if I'm the expert, I'm a photographer, I just put my pretty website up and everybody's just going to come to me. But those skills are still the same. They're still transferable. We just have to recognize them and realize that we are the expert and that people need what we have to offer. And I think that I had success early on because the second I had anybody in front of me, it was, I'm just talking about this because I'm excited and I love this. And I had a lot of like new moms come to me because I was a newborn photographer and I had my Shakeology out on the counter. And I, you know, if somebody said something to me about like, oh, you look good, if a friend, whatever, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This has been working so well for me. And I think that just remembering that, like you said, I'm just trying to like reiterate everything that you said. We, you know, do that with everything that we have, but yet we're afraid to do the thing talk about the thing that's the most important to us. So again, just like, I try to treat it like one thing that Micah had said to me like years and years ago that really stuck with me was just how she just is like not afraid, like nonchalant about it, you know, whatever it is. And so I try to remember that in the way that I speak to people is always like, you know what, you get to decide or not, but just being like really casual about it and just loving on it. And the less that I like try to word vomit on them and try to convince them, the more that's going to make them push back because I'm not there to convince. And I will say that to people too, like it is not my job to like convince or drag or pull anybody, but this is what has worked for me. This is what has worked for my clients. And I just want to make sure that you know about it because it is absolutely, you know, changed my world. And I believe that like it could for you too. So let's just find out if it's the right fit. If it's not, no big deal. And just being like super casual in that way, being like, hey, if it's not the right fit, that's totally fine. But it could be, so let's check it out. So I'm rambling. Sorry.
No. I think it was good. I think that go for no is a really great, just like that. Don't be afraid of that rejection because it's not about you. It's just you're giving them the information and you don't have any attachment with it. Yes, we want to help them, but it's on them to make that decision. And one thing I know that is, especially with sales trainings, you buy from people that you know, that you like, and that you trust. And so even if you don't really know this person, finding that common denominator, whatever that might be, whether, you know, just had a baby, you know, whatever, like, but in remembering where you are, where you were when you started this journey and not just like who you are now, like the whole gamut, like even if, you know, it's been a long time since you had a baby, you remember what it was like. So you know, you have that in common. So always remember that people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And something that really hit home for me a while ago first of all, when I started as a customer, well, and I started as a discount coach because I wanted the discount. I was broke, y'all. I was so broke. But I would be mad if someone's like, well, I'm not going to tell you about it because I know you're broke and you couldn't afford it. Don't tell me what I can afford. Let me decide that. Let me have decided that. And this is something that's not related necessarily to Beachbody, but I remember when I was pregnant with my second baby, my sister-in-law was getting married and I found out she had a bachelorette party, and I was so hurt and so offended. And she was like, well, I didn't invite you because I knew you were pregnant. And I was like, how dare you? Because I was pregnant, just because I'm so fun.
Yeah.
She was thinking for me. And
I'm so fun too. So
I know, I'm so fun pregnant. Maybe I wasn't, maybe that's why, but I don't know. I think that we think for people too much. Like, don't think with your wallet for somebody else. Let them decide. Because I know for me, if I really want something, even if it's not in our budget, I'm going to figure out a way to get it. Whether it's a new shirt or piece of clothing or whatever, like hair, whatever, you're going to find a way. So if somebody really wants to do this, you don't have to convince them. Don't think with the wallet, give them the information and let them decide. And seriously, if you come at it at a place of y'all, so when somebody asks me, okay, well then what is the price? I'm like, oh my gosh, how awesome is this? First of all, it's on sale for only $160. You get Beachbody On Demand for a year. You're going to get this entire program. You're going to get my coaching for a year. Plus you get a bag of the superfoods. How awesome is that? How much better does that sound? So it's $160, but you're getting da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, the way that you say it can really turn, if you're already coming at a place like, y'all, this is affordable, this is cheap, they're going to be like, oh, okay. And if they say oh, well, that's not in my budget. Okay, great. But it's not in their budget. But I think that sometimes we come off as it's expensive. And so then it's they're like, oh, well, it's expensive. But if you literally do your research, Shakeology is cheap for what's in it. Beachbody On Demand is cheap. And these challenge packages, these challenge packs, y'all, seriously, it's so inexpensive. And they pay as much for a freaking challenge pack as they pay for 1 month at a CrossFit gym. Obviously not now, right now, but several people are paying $120 to $150 for 1 month. 1 month. So if they want it bad enough, they're going to find a way. So I think it all comes down to mindset. Position yourself as the expert. You're not selling something that they don't need. So find out what they need, make those suggestions, be confident in your suggestion, and then stay detached from it. If they say no, I guarantee you they're going to watch. Yesterday, I had a girl reach out to me who's been following me for over a year. We had a conversation, and a year ago, she's like, well, I'm just going to get my 21-day fix videos out. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Now she's ready. And she joined within 1 hour. She was ready. She's going to do 10 rounds and we're starting this. And I hadn't even messaged her in a couple weeks, or probably a couple months, but they're watching you. I promise. So plant that seed. They might not join right now, but they will later. And then once they do start messaging you, don't be afraid to ask for the sale. You have to ask for the sale, because if you just have these conversations and you never tell them, hey, let's get you started, let's get you on this challenge pack, let's go, then there's really no point to that conversation because you haven't helped them. So that's all about really sales for me. Go read that Go for No. There's a lot of really awesome sales books out there that help you just in your confidence and your approach and things like that. I just really encourage you all to get out of your head that selling is bad, because especially if you're a mom, you're selling to your kids all the time. You're trying to sell them a way of doing their chores, or if you're married or your friends, or we're all selling in some form or fashion something. The fact that you get paid for this, that's the blessing in it. That's the blessing in it. There's nothing to feel icky about that. So, all right, that's it for me. Does anybody have any questions that we can just go over in terms of your business outside of this training today, like the sales part of it, like mentorship, like that Jody and I could maybe help answer that you're feeling stuck in your business, or some things that, you might just want to ask Jody or I. No. Happy Easter Eve, by the way. That's kind of weird for those that are celebrating. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. And Jody's got snow on the ground, and we're supposed to have a rainstorm, but hey, we're going to make it. We're going to figure it out. All right.
Outside hunt.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just do an inside hunt. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but all right. Well, I guess that's it. If you guys need anything, please use that. You guys use that chat, use our pod. That's really for you guys to ask questions. Don't be afraid to share your success. If something's working in there, what a blessing to share it with other coaches as well. Even if they're not your downline, like share what's working. Cause we're all in it to help others. Or if you have a question, you've got 5 coaches that have been in the business for a long time. We're not by any means the only like the experts, but at the same time, we might have come across something that we actually made a mistake doing, and we'd rather like help you to not make the mistake, and you know that we made. But if we can help you in any way, I know that Jody probably feels the same way. Please let us know. Uh-oh, my internet's freezing.